Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a Thursday night episode of Murder Church. I got Dan back here, ready to go in the studio. Come on in. Jumping into a new one here tonight that I've been watching the last 2 days. I am actually still getting caught up as well, so we're going to do a little bit of a catch-up type episode here and go over some stuff. I've got some court TV links over here. We're going to watch the entire opening statements by the prosecution and the defense. Welcome in. Please give it a share on the old X machine. Give it a like over here. Share it on all the socials. Welcome in. Let's go.
Let's rock.
Yo, everybody. Welcome in here. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. I think this is the official first Dan Murder Church episode ever, if I'm not mistaken. But welcome in, everybody. Thank you very much. Please give it a share. Like I said, that would be really appreciative. Not a lot of people are covering this. I saw the Broken Baker was covering this. I saw Lawyer Lee was just doing a stream. I was actually watching her stream. Hers is, I think she's actually in the court, which is crazy. And she's going pretty in depth on her stream as well. Honestly, just being completely honest here, I'm going to be doing a little bit of learning because I've been watching it the last 2 days, but I haven't got to see every little bit. And we did cover this. This one's kind of local-ish. It's within about probably an hour away from us. But, you know, we did do a stream about a year ago on this case. It's from 2019. What we're covering here tonight, in case anyone didn't know, and they probably did because of the title or the thumbnail, Natalie Cochran, a former pharmacist, is accused of now first-degree murder after already being... and she's already in prison for 12, 13 years for a Ponzi scheme that she's admitted to. Already went through that trial, but now getting a first-degree murder charge, and they're trying to say that her husband Michael Cochran was poisoned by her by insulin when he died. So there's a lot of variables to this, is what's interesting, and kind of what I'm getting right now. Of course, I still haven't fully made up my mind, but it seems like they may be going a little too far. And I'm not sure that she did murder him. I'm also still really early and, again, piecing this together myself. Again, thanks, everyone, for coming in. The will is wide open. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, supers, membering up, all of that will get you on this wheel that we're working on. Before I get Dan in here, let's just see where we're at real quick. Tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be doing a kind of a David Lynch episode, a special. Anybody that did not see, and does anybody that really knows Publicly Buzzed knows how big of fans we are of David Lynch. Tomorrow night, we're going to watch Wild at Heart on Kick. Kick.com/publiclybuzzed. It's going to be fucking dope. It's going to be super awesome. I'm excited. But give me 1 second here. Where are we at on this wheel here tonight? Oh, shit. We're already working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're already 5 away from a wheel. So we'll see what happens. Let's get the man of the hour in here. Dan, what's up?
I feel tricked. I feel deceived.
What do you mean? What's going on?
I had no idea this was a Murder Church
This episode. Is Murder Church. Welcome in here.
I'm on a Murder Church episode, and I wasn't. The streak has been broken.
It's now official. Ladies and gentlemen, it's official. He's on him.
Be like Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker.
I didn't tell him that this was Murder Church. You know, Murder Churches. Here's the thing about Murder Church: it can just pop up at any time now. There's no rules about Murder Church. I just do Murder Churches. If it feels like a Murder Church, it'll be a Murder Church. Friday hasn't had a Murder Church yet. No, you know what? That one Frail Friday did kind of have a Murder Church. The one where we picked the new trial. It was like 2 hour classic. Yeah. Like, we never do that type of stream, and it just lasted forever. I think we went to Kick for like 30 minutes that night. It was a super weird night.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't official, but this one's official.
But it wasn't official. This one right here.
Had the intro and everything.
Well, you know what else it has? The bells. When the bells ring, that makes it truly official.
Yeah, the streak. You broke my streak.
The streak is dead. You're getting baptized. CH popping you up here. Hold on. Getting baptized here tonight.
I was not made aware that this was a Murder Church episode.
Welcome in. Let us pray. Brooklyn in the house here tonight also. Let's go.
Brooklyn!
Love it. Love it. Dan done got the bells. He don't even know what to do. He's feeling the power. Welcome into the murder chat with Natalie Cochran. Killed her husband allegedly. Welcome.
Start speaking in tongues.
I give you that every once in a while. That comes out very, very rarely. Usually it's actually more singing. I sing all the time. I'm actually constantly singing.
Whoa.
I never stop singing.
Really?
Yeah. I open entire episodes by singing.
Gospel songs?
No, just whatever's in front of my face. Just really the intro. Welcome in here, everybody. Whatever's happening, yeah.
Welcome! Welcome!
Yeah, there you go. Getting it, baby. You're getting it in. That's what I'm talking about.
Feel the energy.
Almost went completely into song there. It could have happened very easily.
I got to be right back already, Bo. I didn't prepare.
This son of a bitch ain't even
It will
prepared
just
for
be
Murder
a couple of
Church.
seconds.
Son of a bitch. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone for coming in. And again, we're going to be going over this crazy trial that's out of Beckley, West Virginia. All right, this is about an hour away from me, guys. And again, I remember covering this. It's from the mountains of West Virginia. Crazy enough, Natalie Cochran, again, former pharmacist. So, they're already making a pretty good amount of loot. Now, here's what the prosecution is trying to say. They're trying to say that Michael Cochran wouldn't have known that. They're basically saying that he wouldn't have known about the Ponzi scheme that was happening, so she had to kill him, to keep this away from him. And I'm thinking, as this is kind of going on, the lavish lifestyle that they're already living, she was a pharmacist and she's making like, I think $120K or something a year. So they're making good money, but she's got millions of dollars all of a sudden. Michael's, is he, the alignment of his death with her, with everything happening, it's fucking crazy. Ponzi scheme prior to this, Cochran pleaded guilty to running a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme for which she was sentenced. Do you remember this, Dan? It was like one of these schools up in here. She was going to a school and basically doing some kind of deal where she was like, I don't remember the details of it, but essentially kids were being promised that they were going to get like tuition money to go to school.
Oh, she pulled a Michael Scott.
It was all fake.
Pulled a Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Scott's
Did he do
Tots.
that? I don't remember that right off.
You don't remember Scott's Tots?
No, right off. There in the office?
Yeah, he promised scholarships to a bunch of elementary school kids. And when graduation time came around, he was not the millionaire he thought he would be. And, yeah, he had to come and speak in front of all of them and tell them that he couldn't do it.
Yeah, she did pull Michael Scott.
What did he do? Did he buy he bought iPads for all of them or something?
I gotta rewatch The Office. It's been so long. So upset. All Disney Nerd is kind of local to this too.
Yeah, no, that was brutal.
Laura remembers it. And I've just got some notes up here in front of me real quick. And we're going to watch the entire openings from day one because I want to see those. Trial and timeline and key events, pre-trial hearings, multiple pre-trial hearings were held, dealing with issues like the admissibility of evidence, particularly a vial of insulin found in Cochran's home. The judge ruled to allow evidence related to the Ponzi scheme into trial, arguing its relevance to the murder motive. So we've been hearing a lot about this insulin stuff, especially today. And her defense attorney, someone in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, if he's not from there, but I think he's from Austria. So him kind of like in this West Virginia courtroom is kind of interesting. He's like intense.
Schwarzenegger, because that would be awesome.
I think it's Austria. I'm not 100% sure on that. But he's very intense. But dude, I don't think he's wrong. So let me keep going here a little bit. Jury selection began on just a month ago. Pool of 50 people. I did see that there was a little bit of drama with the jury. One of the ladies that initially got picked to be in the jury, again in the chat right here, if anybody's keeping up with this, that knows maybe a little bit more, but to my knowledge, I don't think I was reading this, that someone that was picked to be in the jury, it ended up not coming. Maybe it was even today. Maybe they came the first day. Whatever. Somebody didn't come. And the judge, their excuse was basically that, I have somebody that I have to take care of. All of these excuses, and the judge essentially held them in contempt. And, then he dropped it. And he was like, all right, I'm not going to do anything. But,
Listen to me. The Ponzi scheme is not relevant.
Listen to me. The insulin is not relevant. So hold on. Despite national... hold on. Okay, hold on. Opening statements, we're going to get into that.
Ponzi scheme. It was a Ponzi scheme.
You're doing a really good. I can't do that at all. Prosecution's argument, they assert that Cochran killed her husband to prevent him from discovering or exposing her Ponzi scheme. The motive is central to their case, with the insulin vial being a key piece of evidence. The defense's stance, the defense counters that Michael Cochran's death might be attributed to his own health issues, notably his steroid abuse rather than murder. They aim to undermine the link between the Ponzi scheme and the motive. On that, there is basically, I've heard a little bit of rumblings that he was taking some supplements from Mexico that might have been for animals and not for human consumption, which is not good. That can't be good. Yeah. And I guess he was one of these I don't want to say bodybuilders. They actually do say that in the trial. And even when her defense attorney kind of
bodybuilders,
it's all coming together. It's all coming together. This is the Arnold Schwarzenegger comes to Beckley, West Virginia trial, ladies and gentlemen.
Pump you up. The Ponzi scheme's gonna pump you up.
So, yeah, before we get any further here, let's go ahead and just jump into openings here. And let me see who's in the chat again real quick. Lindsay Hendricks coming through here.
Pop up your bank account.
Cheney, you have a shirt out right now on the way to Canada. I've got some tracking information. I will get you tomorrow. That shipped out yesterday, though, and I don't have the tracking. It's at my office. But, yes, I've got you some shit on the way, Cheney. Thank you so much. And I've been getting a lot of shit out since the new year. I kind of had basically I didn't do anything in December because it was chaotic with Christmas. But I'm back on the roll. We're getting this moving again. And hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Rolling.
Kosh is in here. I'm looking in here real quick. Pammy, Tiff. Thanks, everyone. Everyone in here right now. Appreciate it. Frog.
Thank you.
Missy Mayhem. Holly Berry. So before we do jump over here real quick, we did a little bit of an opener there, but one more, just real quick before we get in depth here, and I'm probably will even mention it again, but tomorrow night we are going to be watching Wild at Heart. So Dan, I have a question. Did you ever watch that film?
That's the Nicolas Cage
I
one?
showed you the opening. I sent you the opening.
Is that the Nicolas Cage one?
Yeah.
I don't remember if I watched it or not. Probably not.
I think I was with you when I physically showed you the opening of that movie.
Yeah.
I
don't think
the
I've
scene
watched the whole
when
thing.
he just beats the... I don't want to say anything right, but
yeah,
it's just that crazy metal playing.
Yeah, I don't think I watched the whole thing, though.
This is my favorite David Lynch film, too. This movie is just a snort of cocaine. It's a shotgun blast to the face. It's heroin in the arm. It's insanity. It's so fucking good. It's a sweet story. And here's what's even crazier. It might be the most normal David Lynch film.
Right.
It actually kind of rounds off. Very rare for David.
True.
Dude, it's a good one. 1990.
Fits more in the mainstream, huh?
No. Also,
okay.
It's very weird. It's incredibly weird. What's that one actor's name? He's an amazing actor. William Dafoe. William Dafoe is in this movie and maybe plays the weirdest character in the history of Hollywood. One of the weirdest characters of all time. And I'm not even, when I say these things, it's I can't. No, I'm being serious. It's so weird, but It's also awesome. Dude, no, we're going to murder that movie tomorrow night. It's going to be great. David Lynch Appreciation Night. Let's just call it that. All right, let's get in here. Opening statements, ladies and gentlemen, from Beckley, West Virginia. Making national news, Court TV is in the house. Let's go.
On February the 5th of 2019, Michael Cochran was a 200-pound, healthy 38-year-old man. By midday of February 6th of 2019, he had lost consciousness and he would never regain consciousness. He died in hospice care 5 days later, February 11th of 2019. How could this happen? Why did it happen? For an answer to that, look no further than this defendant's conduct. As you were told, The state has no direct evidence. The kind of stuff that makes TV shows exciting, the kind of stuff prosecutors love, jurors love, there is no DNA. There is no evidence of fingerprints. There are no videos of what happened. But, as Judge Kirkpatrick will instruct you at the end of this, circumstantial evidence is just as valid as that type of direct and scientific evidence. And there is a ton of evidence of this defendant's guilt. All circumstantial. So how did this happen? How did this healthy 38-year-old man go into a state of unconsciousness?
Everybody's stoked to have you back.
And never come back from that?
Talking shit. Gamby's talking shit out here.
On the morning of
God, Cheney, we've been living in a
February
blizzard.
6th of 2019.
It's been rough.
I'd made a tweet that we're living in a snow globe. Like someone keeps shaking that shit. I think it's Holly Berry.
It is crazy.
Defendant advised her friend and neighbor,
Bruce
Jennifer
will be
Davis,
right
that
back.
she'd
I'm actually
been
pull up my
sick
phone.
all
So I'm
night.
listening to this.
103-degree temperature. And she had previously advised that she had cancer and was under chemo treatment. And that chemo treatment, the effects of which were somewhat negated by insulin. There were no diabetics in the Cochran house. And there's no evidence that this defendant was taking insulin to counteract anything. But Jennifer Davis, being a good friend and the mother of a child who was a severe diabetic, had insulin. The defendant knew that. Jennifer Davis, being a good friend, sends her husband with insulin to the defendant's house that morning. About noonish, one way or the other, Michael Cochran collapses in the Cochran house kitchen. Now, the defendant gives various versions of what she saw, what she heard, and what she did, but there's no question that he was unconscious by about 12:20 or so. How do we know that? She took a picture of him and sent that picture to a number of people, showing him in a collapsed state in their kitchen. Did she call 911? No. Did she load him into a car and take him to the yard? No. What did she do? She called 2 construction guys that worked for her. They took Michael Cochran from the kitchen floor and put him on the couch, where he would remain for the rest of the day, some at least 6 hours or so. That's an unusual reaction for somebody to take with their spouse. She did, in addition to calling the construction workers, you'll hear from him, Jason Bowen, who helped move Mr. Cochran to the couch. She called a trooper friend of theirs, J.D. Hamilton. J.D. Hamilton came to the Cochran residence. He saw Michael on the couch. Michael was not conscious, and he was concerned. J.D. Hamilton is married to Stephanie Hamilton, and she is a physician's assistant. Maybe get some medical attention. Stephanie Hamilton came to the house. She looks at Michael Cochran, and she tells her he needs to be checked.
I mean, insulin isn't a known treatment for cancer, I don't think, which is, it's weird that she even claimed that it alleviated some symptoms.
Roughly 3 hours later, things have deteriorated to the point where Michael loses control of his bladder and urinates on himself. Did that event trigger any action by the defendant? Did it seek medical care for her husband, who's on the couch and unconscious now for a number of hours? No. She and her sister changed his clothes and left him on the couch.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up right now. I just now got here when I heard you on my phone, Dan, saying that insulin's not a known thing for cancer. I've never heard that either.
I mean, it could be. It could be something that could have been prescribed. But I don't know. I mean, obviously she wasn't prescribed. Either she wasn't prescribed it, or I mean something, because she got it from a friend, right? So,
let's see what it says.
Regardless, it's the way she obtained it is weird.
It does say insulin can be. Well, it says insulin can be both positive and negative. effect on cancer depending on the circumstances. So, and she says it helps. So,
but she still obtained it in a. Yeah. Why didn't she?
Yeah. She called a friend. Hey, can I borrow some insulin? Yeah.
By 6ish or so that evening, Michael.
I will say I've had,
Chris
and I
Davis.
don't have anything as important as insulin in my that I have to get filled, but like I'll forget that I'm running out of, like, for example, I have high blood pressure, so my high blood pressure medication, which is pretty important, like I want to make sure that stays under control.
Yeah.
And like I'm running out, and the doctor's office is closed because like it's literally happened last week. The doctor's office was closed they closed at noon because of the weather. And I went there because they never do. We both have the same doctor. Are you ever able to get through on the phone?
No,
it never works for me. It never works.
Yeah. I just go, literally my move is go on Fridays because they do walk-ins.
But if you just need like something filled and you don't actually need to see anybody, you want to use the phone.
Yeah.
But so I went there Friday, and of course they were closed. They closed at noon because of the weather. So, but CVS will give you like a 3-day supply. If you need if you're like out for the weekend, so you can call on Monday and get it refilled or whatever.
Yeah.
They probably don't do that with something like insulin, but I don't know. They might. I don't know.
Gamby says a type 1 diabetic since the age of 5 and someone who pays a stupid amount because my body tries to kill itself. No way in hell am I giving up any of my insulin to anyone who isn't in dire need.
Yeah, true. Like, why would the friend even be willing to give it up? Because it's like same. I mean, not as drastic, but like same thing. Like, I'm not going to give away any of my medication to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I need it.
Yeah, I was about to say the blood pressure thing. Like, it's a little bit different, I guess. Like, but
it's
like I would
severe,
right. Like, I would be freaked out if for this exact reasoning, right? Like, I've all of a sudden given somebody this drug and now somebody's dead. Like,
oh, true.
Which, I mean, I don't know a lot about insulin, but I do know what it does. I know it's for diabetes, and I know that it controls diabetes. But, actually, interestingly enough, and we're probably not going to be able to see that because I don't know exactly where it was at. But in today, when I was watching on day 2, during the defense's questioning of I think the guy was a doctor. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it was the neighbor. I'm sorry. I think it was the neighbor, actually. He was even saying, I believe it was the neighbor because he was trying to get more in depth with the insulin stuff. And I'm sorry, the guy was not a doctor, but he was basically trying to get like, can you explain further, like the measurements, how much is it? And like the guy really was just like trying to, because I think it's his wife that actually needs it. And he was basically just like, I just know the needle amount. You know what I mean? Like he didn't truly know like the detail.
Like what's in the vial.
Right. Yeah. Like,
there's like, the only experience I've ever had with those injection things is it's like a pin, and I guess I can't even remember actually. Yeah, I think it's like little capsules that you put in, and then you just like click it. But I don't know that I'm sure there's a bunch of different types.
Yeah. Interesting though.
Comes to the house. Chris Davis takes charge. He says, we're going to the hospital. The defense says, he don't want to go. He don't want to go.
Thanks for the shares, Laura in Brooklyn. Appreciate that.
Chris Davis says, we're taking him to the hospital. They do. They go to Raleigh General Hospital. But the damage has been done. You'll hear from a couple of doctors to explain the significance, but for now, just keep these numbers in mind. According to the defendant, Michael Cochran's blood glucose level was in the 140s during the day. She reports that to a couple people. He gets to Raleigh General Hospital, and it was 21. 21. That may mean nothing to you right now, but keep that number in mind.
So to you, Dan, 21 coming from 140. Does that mean anything to you with what you deal with Bob?
Oh, it's incredibly low.
So he wasn't giving anything. He's not giving any insulin.
He 100% would have been hallucinating and delirious. The insulin brings it down.
Oh, fuck. So that actually kind of implies that maybe he was giving insulin.
A lot of insulin, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Enough to bring it down that low, yeah.
Interesting.
He would have been delirious and hallucinating, I'm sure. For sure.
Interesting.
Now, Michael Cochran,
if he wasn't dead, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think he was dead immediately.
Okay, so
so he passes out in the kitchen, I believe. He gets taken, like they were just saying, she didn't call immediately. She's calling, people to come over.
Yeah, at minimum, 21 would have him hallucinating and delirious. But I think the lowest I've ever seen, like Mom's, I think has gotten to like 40 something, which was, I mean, she was 100% hallucinating.
Wow.
Like it was bad. It was bad. But yeah, some people are saying 21's comatose, which I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I was very surprised when I saw hers was so low.
I remember you being like freaking out,
and like,
actually.
dude, she was acting like a totally different human being. Like it was blowing my mind. It was like she was on acid or mushrooms or something. Like she was like completely delirious. It was crazy.
Yeah. I do remember you telling me that, actually.
And it wasn't as low as 21. I think if I remember correctly, it was like in the 40s when that happened to her.
That's right, Shelley. Thanks for putting that in there.
Scary.
He went comatose, and then he was even in hospice. So he's just a vegetable, essentially.
Minutes from his house. She's a retired, registered nurse. Did the defendant contact her? Oh, she did. About 10 o'clock that night by text saying they're going to have to take Michael from Raleigh General to CAMC. All the opportunities to get help to this man, and she took none of them. After being in CAMC for a few days, he's transferred to hospice. He's there roughly 5 hours and dies. His cause of death was damage to his brain caused by insulin. You'll know that because a couple of doctors will testify. A Dr. Uribe and a Dr. Krieger will tell you how the effects of insulin just basically destroyed this man's brain. Glenda,
That's all I got.
an experienced RN and a hospice nurse, said she had never seen a body
classy.
come out of
I like
hospice that looked so good.
He came ready to party.
This was
He
a
looks like Ben
healthy man
Stein.
He does.
Until she did him in. Now that answers the how. Why? Why would this
Perfect
happen?
camera
Why would
switch,
it
Tim.
happen then? Well, as the defense counsel informed you during questioning, the defendant had run a Ponzi scheme, a big one, where millions of dollars
What was Ben
were
Stein's
taken
show that he had on
from
MTV?
friends, relatives,
Win Ben
local
Stein's
professionals.
money.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, that show ruled.
Yeah,
Dude, I
yeah.
loved coming to your
loved it.
house back then, and that was on Comedy Central. It felt,
Oh, it's Comedy Central. I thought it was MTV for some reason.
yeah, dude, that show felt crazy. Like, I loved that vibe. I loved Comedy Central's vibe in the late '90s and early 2000s.
It was
dude.
so
It was
good,
fucking
man.
like, it was like Rebel or like really real. It was like MTV when we were really little kids. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. They kind of recaptured that, but instead of music, it was comedy.
yeah.
Like,
And
because instead of music videos playing, it was comedy. Comedy
dude.
specials.
Yeah, dude, because they were pushing the
was sick.
envelope.
It was so good.
As many deceptions and lies as were told to her victims of the Ponzi scheme, Michael Cochran was told just as many. He did not know what was going on. But
Yo,
he was
Shelley,
determined
thank
to
you.
find out. Because people were saying, hey,
That's not her
we
lawyer.
invested in your company.
No, this is
in
prosecution. This is state.
No, the
plan,
turtleneck
and we're
guy,
not getting
Ben
our
Yeah,
money."
one of them.
And he
Yeah.
Oh, but he's not the main one.
No, I haven't seen him do much except just kind of whisper. But yeah, the main one
was
is
frustrated.
the bigger
He was
guy over
very
here.
frustrated. But the same
I don't think I've even seen him
excuses
ask
provided by
questions.
the defendant,
But also, I'm in and out. Like, I haven't been able to
all
watch
the
this the way I
victims
truly
of the
like
Ponzi
to.
scheme were being provided to Michael Cochran too. It's everybody's fault under the sun. They've got hundreds of
So I'm kind of
millions
watching this right now because I
dollars
didn't
of
get to
their
watch the very
money
beginning.
stuck in a bank in Virginia, Bank of America.
But we're going into day 3 tomorrow.
That's what she told Michael Cochran. That's what he
Yeah, me and
believed.
Stevie were just talking
So,
about
Michael
over the
Cochran is gonna
holidays
straighten
how
this out.
diabetes is
charter.
linked to Alzheimer's. And,
Dude, yeah, they're finding
mean,
that now, man.
So yeah,
like in
blood
studies.
sugar and your brain is super interconnected. And
Dude,
doing
like
a lot of- doing a
I
lot
think
of
they're
damage.
like scientists are really like leaning hard into like that Alzheimer's like is like that's the same thing.
It's
Essentially,
like a stage of diabetes.
Yeah, it's the later diabetes. How do they label it? 1, 2, and 3 or something, or even further. But once you're at like no, wait a minute, pre-diabetic, diabetic.
Yeah.
But there's levels.
There's different types of diabetes.
That's it.
One,
That's what I'm looking
two.
for. Type 3, I'm pretty sure is what they're saying is Alzheimer's, essentially.
Gotcha.
The studies are
crazy,
insane.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it affects the brain in crazy ways. Like I didn't like I said, like seeing it firsthand with Mom was insane to me. Because that was my first experience with it. I had no idea that low blood sugar would make someone like hallucinate,
kind of trip.
Like it was crazy. I mean, insane.
Ned's read the shit I'm talking about.
Yeah, Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes.
Dude, I'm telling, like, it's crazy, but it makes sense. Like, when I was reading it, I'm literally sitting here like, fuck. Like, it's almost like registering. Like,
a flight from Beckley to the Bank of America branch in Lynchburg, Virginia for the 6th of February, 2019.
MA.
Pammy coming through real quick, just a little bit of getting on that wheel. Let's start that thing out here tonight. Hold on, let me get you up here so we can see it. Get it out of the abyss down there real quick. I'm claiming defense attorney named as Gru from Minions movie. Y'all just hold on, let me pop it back up. Y'all just wait. I think is what she's saying there. Thank you very much. A $5 holler getting on there, Pammy. I think I know who she's talking about. There's somebody in Minions that has the.
Gru's the bad guy.
But doesn't he have a turtleneck?
Yeah. Oh, she's talking about that guy.
I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's got a turtleneck.
I think so. Thank you, Pammy. I appreciate it. Pammy, you should actually have some stickers in the mail right now also. And I just got your email, which, of course, I just emailed you. But I've got your other shirt and, I'm going to get you a publicly buzzed lightning bolt shirt. And yeah, she actually randomly requests different colors. If anybody does end up being a winner and you do want a different color, let me know. Like, every color's not always an option on every shirt, but if it is, we can get you something.
Mysteriously, the defendant cancels that trip in early morning hours. Why was that trip so important? Because Michael Cochran,
pretty sure the main one is Austrian.
At that point, there is no money in the Bank of America.
We're going to hear him in just a moment.
There's never been any money in the Bank of America in Virginia. There are no government contracts, which is what she was selling to most of Raleigh County.
So getting away with a Ponzi scheme in 2019 is crazy.
Those were fictitious things that she made up. And
yeah, do you want to say 2 years it went? But that's
crafty, dude. You gotta be crafty.
We're not going to pretend Michael Cochran didn't get a benefit from this. He did.
In this day and age.
The defendant and her family lived a very lavish lifestyle with other people's money. And Trooper Heinzman will explain to you in an overview, because this case isn't the Ponzi scheme case. That one's over. This is a murder case. But he'll explain to you how the defendant did this and how she was able to pull this off for so long and how she got so many people.
Do we even have white shirts? Aren't most of them black anyway?
We have one white one, the skeleton crew one.
Are you, through the system, are you not allowed to give color options?
I can. I just do black because it's the easiest option. I could honestly do tons of colors, but I just have never taken the time to do that. But if anybody does need colors, I can do it.
Just add it as like a selector,
Well, I mean, it would just take. It literally just takes time. Like, I just don't do it. Like,
probably 3 seconds. But you just don't want to log in.
You know what? Like, every time I make a new shirt, now it wouldn't be an issue. But like when I first started it was overwhelming because I had all these shirts. Mm-hmm. But now it really wouldn't be that big of a problem. And
you actually have to make a new shirt for everyone?
When I make a new.
Like for each color, you'd have to make a new shirt for that.
No. Like, no, you wouldn't have to do that. But well, and I also will say this, because even when you say that, it's kind of triggering, like how easy it would actually be. But when I first was doing it, I didn't truly understand fully. Let's say that.
Gotcha.
Like now, I could totally make tons of different colors. Like, but I still but admittedly, I'm still don't. I still just do black basically. But
Yeah.
But if anybody does need anything, we can talk about it.
Black is typically, it's the go-to for me.
It's the norm, I think.
That was all going to blow up.
Tiff, see?
on
Tiff, get at me.
February 6th.
What do you need?
And it would
I
have
got
Get at your boy.
I'm your shirt man.
Hit me up, I got you, man.
Of course,
Hit me up,
the
I
Cochrans
got you,
never
man.
made it from
What you
Beckman
want, what you need.
to Lynchburg. And Michael Cochran
Dude, I
is
see that.
dead because of this. By the way, in
That
case
thing
you've forgotten,
tailor-made,
from
bro.
the question,
Gambies, that's what I'm
That-
this
talking about.
defendant,
That tailor-made suit.
she knows.
Dude, I have a lot of cool shirts,
Medication
Gambies. If you haven't seen the
drugs.
Skeleton Crew, check
Beyond
that one
that,
out. That's a super mellow shirt.
She held herself out as a specialist in diabetic counseling.
Tell you what, if I was a lawyer.
Yeah.
Which is Dr. Stein, Ben Stein.
True.
Dixie said he looks like the teacher from Ferris Bueller. That is Ben
Yeah.
Stein.
That-
So, and
that's
Dan
who-
earlier said, I'm just saying,
That's who we were talking
boom,
about.
he is Ben Stein. I'm going to get a picture. Hold on. He literally is. Hold on. That's actually the perfect
Same
picture.
guy.
I'm going to pause it.
Actually,
That
right there.
is
that's
Ben Stein, right? I'm pretty, how did Ben Stein become, whoa, dude, oh, whoa! Now that I'm actually seeing Ben
Reincarnated
Stein,
even, isn't he? Hasn't he passed away?
I don't know. Hold on. No, he's still going. He's 80. He's still kicking.
my God! he's
80
still
years
going
old
at
out here
80.
said, fuck you. He said,
Wow.
what? We got problems?
I really thought that he had
Dude.
passed away. Look at that. That's him, bro.
Is that not the same person,
That's
dude?
him. That's literally him sitting there, bro. Like, look at that one you have highlighted. Is just a mirror image of the picture or that guy sitting down right now.
Like,
No, you snip it. You snip it.
oh, hold on. Yeah,
You
hold on.
snip it and then blow it up
Yeah, hold on.
and put them side by side, dude. Actually, can you mirror with snippet? Because if you could mirror it, it would even be better. Not snippet, snipping tool.
I did snip it. But yeah, at least that I can
Oh,
get
that
him-
doesn't. That actually doesn't help.
Well, at least I can get them side by
blowing it up.
side. That's
But
what I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to do right there. Yeah.
Oh, control scroll wheel, Stevie. It zooms it.
Oh,
Right on
shit.
in there. And then can you mirror it? Because if you could mirror it, it would be so good.
How would I mirror it?
I'm trying to see myself, and I don't see it, so don't worry about it.
But that right there, you can tell. Like
That's
that,
the same guy.
That's the
the
same
same
dude.
guy.
That is Ben Stein. Her attorney is Ben Stein.
Same guy.
Freaking me out a little bit even. It's so good.
I can't
That's
believe
our
you can't
case.
easily
All
mirror
circumstantial,
in,
and at the
snipping
end of
tool.
it,
Hey, Gambies, that shirt's not really sold out. If you go down a little bit lower, you'll see that it's still in there.
we'll be asking you to find the right verdict and find this defendant guilty of first-degree murder. Thank you.
You know they were going to get rid of snipping tool
May it please
at
the
one
court.
point, and there
for
was
the state.
overwhelming demand to not get rid of it, so they kept it.
Yeah,
What an amazing tool.
I use that all the time.
By the
It's like the
prosecution,
best tool in Windows.
Hey, and we're about to hear this dude right now.
Here we go.
Account, and perhaps by some other accounts, Natalie Cochran is not a nice person.
Wait, he doesn't sound like Arnold.
Is he not
She
Austrian?
defrauded friends,
I don't know.
relatives, investors.
That's just my guess.
She was involved in a Ponzi scheme.
I don't know.
She cheated, she scammed. And she has paid for it. But ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the fact that she is perhaps a fraud,
I've
And
never
perhaps-
seen her. I can't take my.
that you wouldn't perhaps want
Are we
to
good?
invite her home for Sunday
Are
dinner,
we okay?
that you wouldn't like her,
I think
Uh-oh.
it's.
Does
I
not
think we're-
translate
I think it's still
Can't hear
good.
you,
into
Stevie.
being
Oh,
a
God, hold on.
murderer.
Oh no.
You can see me though. You can see me.
This trial
I see you.
It's not.
I don't. I see you. I don't hear you.
Hold on.
a forum on public acceptance.
Um,
You don't have
I'm
to
gonna
like her.
It may also
You
be
don't have
frozen
to-
on YouTube.
Say she is a great person, but you have taken the oath
I think we're okay.
to judge her fairly and to give her a fair shake, a fair trial. When you took the oath, it's not just some wave of a hand. It is a solemn oath to search for the truth and to determine what really happened in this case.
Okay.
Now, the prosecutor presented a very nice theory, except that before we do that,
Okay.
again, I'm Matthew Victor. I represent Natalie Cochran with my co-counsel, Mr. Stanley Seldon. We represent somebody, again,
All right, yeah. Yeah, let me see.
who is
Let me see if I can fix it for Dan real quick.
perhaps dishonest in her financial dealings, but who didn't kill anybody, let alone her husband, her only man in her life. A man, the father of her 2 children, and a man with whom she
We
was
got
enamored
echo
ever since she
on
laid eyes on
the
him in high school.
Video.
She's not a murderer, as the evidence will show. Now,
You fixed that already.
she is
Dan.
accused here by
Dan.
the state of West Virginia
Damn, what the
of
hell?
one of the vilest crimes there is known.
All right, I think I'm going to have to...
And I will submit to you that the state's motive in this case, as they presented to you, is absolute nonsense.
I think that
The state
You need to
of West
go in and
Virginia
out.
is trying to tell
you
you
need to go in and out.
that
You,
my client,
you,
Natalie Cochran,
you,
who has lived
You?
with
you
The man
need to go in and
who was
out.
up to his eyeballs
You?
in the Ponzi scheme,
All right, up.
Need to go in and out.
somehow
Little tickle.
detected that he was on
You?
her.
You?
He was already
You?
detecting that she was
You-
committing a
you-
major
me?
fraud, and he was
Yes,
going around
yes.
straight to the federal
Need
government.
to go in and out. Get the hell out of
Ladies
here.
and gentlemen,
Get the hell out
Oh,
of
yeah,
here.
yeah. Leave and come
Get
back
the
in.
hell
Got
out of
it.
here.
the state would want you to believe
Yes.
that he didn't know anything about the Ponzi scheme, didn't know anything about millions of dollars and the lavish lifestyle. He
We
didn't
got
know-
this. Oh, Lord. If you're new here at Publicly Buzzed, we do have technical issues from time to time. That's what's happening if you're streaming from freaking space. You kidding me? Yo. Can you hear me? You still can't hear me. That's not good. They're right. Yeah, they're right. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna keep playing this. Hold on.
anything about this, even though the evidence will show that he was signing all these contracts, he was working on the contracts, he was signing checks, and you will see that evidence, you will hear that evidence. And all of a sudden he found out that Natalie Cochran, his beloved wife, is a fraud and a cheat. And what was he gonna do? No, he was not gonna go and talk to her and try to resolve this case somehow, get a lawyer, whatnot. The evidence will show, well, at least the state's evidence will show, that she's going to run to the federal government and turn her and her in and have the dear wife, the mother of his
Hold on for
children,
one sec. Trying to get him to
locked
look
up
at his
in
Facebook
prison.
messages.
Okay? Think about that. As you listen to the evidence,
See if that works.
be aware of the fact that she, that is Ms. Cochran, does
Let's
not
send him a
have
new
to
link
prove
here.
herself innocent. The state has the
Hope
burden
that
of proof
works.
beyond a reasonable doubt to
Okay.
demonstrate that Natalie Cochran killed her husband with premeditation, deliberation, and malice. And that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence will show the state cannot do. They cannot do it. You will see
He's assertive, this guy.
exhibits, you will see documents here, consider it all. But what comes to mind immediately is that bottle of insulin. And I will submit to you that this is a smokescreen that the state is going to present to you. You will hear expert testimony and evidence that this type of insulin could not kill anybody. And for that matter, that the amount of insulin that may have been given to Michael Cochran would not kill him. The state will not tell you exactly what happened that day. Well, they will tell you what they believe happened that day after Mr. Cochran was allegedly shot with this insulin. But what they will not tell you is that if you are shot with a injection of insulin, you're not going to drop unconscious immediately. Think about what would happen if somebody
Nice.
injected you with insulin. Would you react? Would you call 911? Now let's think about it. Let's also think about the fact that the evidence in this case is not exactly what the state believed you to be. Mr. Cochran was a 38-year-old man who died, and the question still remains, what did he die of? You will hear medical evidence that Mr. Cochran was not a healthy 38-year-old man. In fact, to the contrary, between the late 2017 and the time of his death in 2019, he was in the hospital 4 times. For what? For life-threatening conditions. He was a ticking bomb, the evidence will show, health-wise.
Damn.
He suffered from a plethora of medical conditions that could easily end up his life. What's more, you will hear the evidence that Mr. Cochran fancied himself to be a bodybuilder. He wanted to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Universe.
What's happening? It always comes back around.
Mr. Cochran
He just mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What? Did he say Mr. Olympia? Wait, what did he say? Go back. I know I heard bodybuilder, but did he actually say Mr. Olympia?
From end up his life. What's more, you will hear the evidence that Mr. Cochran fancied himself to be a bodybuilder. He wanted to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Universe.
Oh.
Mr. Universe.
And what did he do to that?
But he
in
said
that
Arnold
regard?
Schwarzenegger.
He said Arnold,
He
yeah.
said that part.
Has imported.
We are in a simulation. We live in a simulation. Nothing is real. None of it.
The reason Arnold came up is because Stevie said he was on. This lawyer was Austrian.
What is happening?
Polish. Oh, you see that? He's Polish, by the way. He's not even Austrian.
What is he?
He's Polish.
See, I didn't even. It all
You
just
said Austrian, and then Arnold comes
yeah,
out.
dude.
And then he says, oh,
I didn't.
actually, maybe that's the link. Maybe you heard Arnold earlier, and you knew Arnold was
I
Austrian.
didn't. I haven't ever watched the openings.
now-
I've not heard
Oh, you
Arnold.
haven't seen this?
I've not seen this. Yeah, dude.
What the fuck?
I've not seen this. I've not heard
What is
Arnold mentioned
happening?
in this trial,
We live in a fucking simulation.
bro.
From
How does that? What are the odds of that happening?
Dude, that happens to us a lot. Like,
Yeah, it's insane. It's
oh,
fucking insane.
it happens to us a lot to be in an hour, 2 hour interval of us streaming on a random night.
Gotta clip this, put it together, man. This is how we
What
get
is
famous.
happening?
We're evidence of a
From
simulation.
sources that were not approved by any FDA or any
Insanity.
legitimate American government
I
sources.
know, Brooklyn.
And he was taking medication, steroids, that were not for human consumption.
David is showing us the truth.
That there was
He transcended.
there was some animal medication taken only by the animals.
It's gonna come out that this other guy's last name is Stein or something crazy, or he's like the
Dude!
something crazy.
Bro,
happened
if
with
this
him.
last... Dude.
Consider that. He was not a healthy man. He was in the hospital in 2017 for his back problems. Let's maybe even disregard that. But he was again in the hospital.
I know, it's a weird dream.
for
It's a
mold
fucked up dream, but think about it.
exposure, with the symptoms similar to what happened to him in February of 2019. He hated the hospitals, the evidence will show. He told everybody that if they ever took him to the hospital, it would be a waste of money, and he would not want to stay in a hospital. But 2 days later, he was again in a hospital with the same conditions, even worse. Somehow he survived. His medical conditions, you will hear, involve the swelling of the brain, convulsions, perhaps epilepsy. You will hear all that evidence. He was not a healthy man. And he refused to take medications. He was pumping himself with steroids and whatever other medication there was that he could get from less than legitimate sources. And you have to consider that in arriving at your verdict. Secondly, the evidence will show that the state's medical evidence as such is going to be easily discredited by the expert evidence of people expert witnesses, who will tell you that this type of medication, what he had, could not have killed this man. And on top of that, the facts of the case are also different from what the prosecution told you. In fact, the insulin, you will hear about all this insulin. This is a smokescreen. The insulin that my client had in her possession was the insulin that Mr. and Mrs. Davis gave her repeatedly. Why? Because they had a diabetic son. And Natalie was an expert in administering that medication because their next door neighbor had a son who had diabetes 1. Sad to hear that, but that's the reality of it. It was not a one-time deal. She was in fact entitled to go to the pharmacy and get that medication, pick up the medication.
Oh, that redhead making it
for
in. Fuck
Mr.
yeah.
and Mrs. Davis'
Ginger
son.
night.
So the fact
Love
that
it.
she had any insulin in her home is of no import. Furthermore, the state will present the evidence that they found a bottle of insulin in her home. Oh, we will, however, present to you that that bottle of insulin was first of all full, so nobody took that insulin. Second of all, that that insulin was found in the refrigerator 4 months after Mr. Cochran's death. That insulin is completely irrelevant, as the evidence will show. Now,
That took a lot of energy. He doesn't believe that himself.
the state wants you to believe that Ms. Cochran, as a pharmacist, is knowledgeable of the insulin because she wanted to kill her husband. The evidence, however, will show that Ms. Cochran, as a pharmacist, is also known to have great knowledge of any other substances that could kill. undetectable, untraceable.
That's a pretty good point.
And so consider
She's a
this
pharmacist.
Let's assume that the state is right on everything. Consider the fact that this cold-blooded killer borrows a murder weapon from a neighbor to kill her husband with the insulin that involves now a couple of witnesses. Then she places that medicine in her refrigerator, the evidence of the crime apparently according to the state, for 4 months. And then she somehow does not use any other
Yeah, there's like so many questions surrounding the insulin.
that she knows
Lindsay.
of because she is a pharmacist. That theory is absurd, ladies and gentlemen. Truly. And now, the kicker. She has an absolute power to hide the evidence. And the evidence will show that she had never cremated her husband. So he was exhumed, his body was exhumed, so that the state could prove something, which the state cannot, but at least they try. And we will submit to you that if she had cremated the late Mr. Cochran's body, there would have been no case. There would have been any case.
Another good point, dude.
Now-
Because they charged her with murder, and then they took it off the table, and then they exhumed the body, and then whether they found something or what, that's when they've recharged her with murder. But at his point, if she wanted, she could have had him
He could have cremated him.
cremated him, and then his point that she is a pharmacist and could have known better undetectable. She has access to drugs. Like,
Well, I guess there's a question around that, which probably won't even come up. It may come up. I don't know. Did he have, like, what other family did he have? Did people know what his wishes were? You know,
right?
And they could have been suspicious to cremate the body.
It's a good
Even.
point. It's a good point.
So I don't know.
You will hear the evidence.
Maybe she
about
didn't
her
think that far ahead.
chemo
Pammy
treatment.
exhumed twice.
You will hear the evidence about her health. And, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, after all of that, you will come to the realization that the state's case doesn't make any
Hey,
sense.
Susan, thank you. Thanks for hanging
And
out.
you will not
Appreciate
be
it.
able to
Have a great,
answer
good rest of the night and a
Your
great
own question,
Friday.
perhaps.
Come
What
hang tomorrow
did this
night.
man die of? Certainly not the insulin injection. And the evidence will also show.
But I want to see now. I want to
that-
hear medical evidence because why does he think that? Why does he think the insulin injection was not the cause of death, or it was not what caused him to die?
Right, yeah.
Because his blood sugar levels were incredibly low.
20.
Mr. Cochran, by the state's own admission, was enjoying the benefits of Ms. Cochran's fraud. Well, that's another red herring. He was involved in the Ponzi scheme. He knew about multi-million-dollar purchases,
This is what I think.
the toys,
I don't think he couldn't have
the
known.
houses, trips to Paris, trips to Hawaii, expensive, lavish lifestyle. And you have to ask yourself at the end of the case,
Because the state's theory hangs on her trying to hide this Ponzi scheme from him. Like, they live this crazy life here. Like,
Yeah.
I did learn that he bought her like $14,000 earrings or something, some kind of jewelry. Like, that's insane spending. Like, you
Yeah.
know you've got it or something. Like,
didn't know about it? Really? He didn't know how this money was generated? He who wrote all the contracts for the government, for the non-existing purchases? If you cannot answer these questions, then you have to acquit the defendant.
Yeah, that's their motive, right?
This is a complex case,
The
ladies and
Ponzi
gentlemen
scheme
of the jury.
is their motive.
exactly. Like, she was trying
But
to
it's
hide
built
this
by the
from
state
him,
of West
Yeah,
Virginia
that doesn't make
to
sense.
kill him.
on conjectures.
So it's hard.
Innuendos.
Like, I'm not,
It
I'm
is
still
rich.
undecided fully, but
Rich.
it's hard to say that because I'm so, early. Like I said, I haven't even seen the openings, but I've seen other bits and pieces. That's why I wanted to start here. And I know some stuff, but like, it's hard for me to not believe this dude didn't fucking know. This, like, it hangs on, their entire theory is kind of not great.
Well, I mean, I don't know. The motive doesn't make any sense, but his death also doesn't make a lot of sense. And
not calling 911.
A lot of things line up, too.
Not calling 911, calling workers. You have somebody else insisting, no, we're going to go to the hospital, not his own wife.
It seems
that's
like
weird.
Potentially, they just have the wrong motive.
Oh, that's a great theory. That's a great fucking thought, dude. Yeah, like, because you know, the whole thing that's hanging me up is literally that. I'm like, dude, he knew. Like,
yeah.
But that's a great. Maybe she was. Maybe it was a little bit more of a greed thing. Fucking get him out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's a great thought.
On spurious conclusions and speculation.
Just again, you know, bullshit in here.
But it's thin on facts. And glaringly lacking in motive. And the evidence necessary to prove that my client killed her husband. At the end of the case, we will ask you to find her not guilty. Thank you.
Members of the jury, the next part or stage of this case is the introduction of the evidence.
All right. And then they did have it kind of laid out here. Let's see. Prosecutor Tom Truman opened for the state by accusing defendant Natalie Cochran, this is what we just watched, of poisoning her husband with insulin before he would discover that their government contract business was a Ponzi scheme which was used to rip off their friends and family members to support their lavish lifestyle. Defense, we just watched that. You know, what he's thinking is still pretty fresh in the head. State called as its first witness Robert Hinsman, former West Virginia state trooper who investigated the fraud scheme that ultimately led to Natalie's federal conviction of wire fraud and unlawful money transactions. He explained that Natalie solicited investments under the guise that her company would be profiting from federal government supply contracts. His investigation concluded she never had government contracts, that she was using money from investors to pay earlier investors, a Ponzi scheme. On cross, defense attorney Victor suggested Michael was deeply involved in the Ponzi scheme and noted he received deposits from his parents and P.O. boxes used by TSG or Tactical Solutions Group were registered in his name and that he appeared to have no salaried income where Natalie earned about $120K a year as a pharmacist. Jennifer Davis, and now going back, and that almost rang a bell there, just the name, Tactical Solutions Group.
Yeah, I remember Googling that.
They were selling guns and shit. Like there was some government shit there, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? How do you even get involved in that? Jennifer Davis, Natalie's good friend and neighbor, testified Natalie messaged her on February 6, 2019, that she and Michael were sick, that insulin helped mitigate the effects of her cancer. Davis volunteered to share some insulin with her, which her husband delivered to Natalie. There we go. Let's watch something else.
But she and Michael were sick.
She and Michael were sick. Well, and Michael was sick. He was already sick. Like,
but the way she's saying that makes it sound like the insulin was for both of them.
Right. No, that's a good point. That she and Michael were sick. If that's how it was worded, that is strange. It's a good point.
Like, why would she mention that they were both sick?
That's a good point. Because he's
like, it's like the text message was like, hey,
I need insulin for both, which doesn't.
Hey, Jennifer, me and Michael are not feeling very well. We might need some. Can you help us out with some insulin? Now, she does say it mitigates the effects of her cancer.
Right.
I just don't understand why Michael's.
And I will say this to fight that, just devil's advocate that just a little bit. You know, this is our Court TV writing this, and you know they're not the best. Like that could be like slightly askew. Up, yeah. Like, okay, so Natalie Cochran asked a neighbor to borrow a vial of insulin, and we can watch a little bit of that.
Live, we are watching together the trial against a pharmacist in West Virginia, Natalie Cochran. She's charged with first-degree murder in the untimely death of her 38-year-old husband, Michael. On the stand now is the couple's neighbor, Jennifer Davis.
This one is happening currently, Gambies, going on day 3 tomorrow.
Davis. Let's go back in to hear
Airing
more.
live on Court TV, and only YouTube where I may be wrong, and I'm not as deep as I even once was. Like, I'm not watching daily stuff anymore. But Broken Bakers, I do know that he's covering it, and he's a pretty good one.
Jennifer, can you see that okay?
Yes.
Can you just explain to me what's going on in this conversation?
Is there any way we could tighten that up a little bit? I'm not sure the jury can read it. Are you folks having a hard time reading it? Or can you see it? I can read it.
Yeah, we're good.
You have better eyes than I do.
I know, I'm standing right in front of it. Okay. Can you just explain what's going on in that conversation?
Yes, she said that her and Mike, they were both sick, and I think they had the flu or the norovirus is what we were told, either before or after, and she had to start taking small insulin shots.
That's true, Pammy.
I'm going to have to order a vial. I know she said that the flu and the norovirus had hit her hard and made her more sick because of the cancer that she had. So then I had asked her if she was going to the cancer center or Dr. Halsey. And then I volunteered a vial of insulin if she needed it. And she went to Halsey today.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. The document speaks for itself.
I can ask a different question, Your Honor.
Okay, I think that's a fair objection. Ms. Acorn, maybe you can ask her some questions.
So, Jennifer, at this point, you were
Great
offering to help
objection,
out
by the way. Great objection, by the way.
Yeah.
a friend in need.
Wasting time reading that. We can all see it.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And she said that she offered up the insulin.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
But being friends and neighbors, this has probably happened before, right? I would imagine.
Sounds like it, yeah.
She, again, has cancer, and we just heard it can be negative or positive, and clearly she found it to be positive.
Remove that sheet.
Redhead, this is a murder trial now, so that was about the Ponzi scheme before. When she took the plea deal, that was specifically for the Ponzi scheme. Now the state has come back and are now, alleging and charging her with the murder of Michael Cochran.
Jennifer, just looking over this one,
Oh, yep. Oh,
did she accept your offer?
gotcha. You see it.
Yes, she did. She asked if she could borrow a vial of insulin.
Did you provide that insulin to her?
Okay, so she did ask.
I didn't personally. I was running late. I was going to the church's mission center that day, and I had put together a few drinks, and I put the insulin in a bag and gave it to my husband, and he dropped it off on the porch on the way to work.
What sort of insulin did you put in that bag, if you remember?
It was Humalog. That's what my son takes, is Humalog.
Was it a new bottle?
Yes.
Did you require a prescription to get that particular type of insulin or no?
Yes. No, you have to have a prescription for that.
Okay. You didn't send any needles over with it though?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Gambies, it is. Before I went live here, I saw that she was doing a live, and I think she's going to the court daily. I think she's in there. So she must be flown in here, but I don't know where she's from exactly. But she sounds Southern herself, but I'm not sure exactly where she's from. But yeah, I mean, I don't see a lot of people covering this. Lawyer Lee would probably be the best one for legal terms. I don't think I don't think Bob is covering this one, but this is interesting. It's interesting from the financial aspect, of what happened, and now we're getting into this fucking did she?
If you'll just bear with me for a second here, you guys had a lot of conversations.
Yeah, but let's Patty Cathy's.
Okay, let's take a look at this one. So, did you understand what Natalie was talking about when she made this statement that Mike was so mad about not being able to go somewhere? He had to take 2 of her blood pressure pills. Do you know where they were supposed to be going?
They were going to Virginia.
I'm going to object. This may be based on hearsay.
We won't know if it's based on hearsay until she responds, Your Honor.
Well, then we need to establish the foundation, whether it's based on hearsay.
All
or
right,
not.
maybe you could establish a little foundation, Ms. Nichols.
Did you have any conversations with Natalie previously about where they were to be going that day?
Yes, they were borrowing our plane to fly to Virginia.
Okay. And that was a conversation that you
Borrowing
and she
our
directly
plane.
had, not that you heard from someone else?
Correct.
Okay.
It's not your normal neighbor.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Hey, can I just, I got to make a trip. I was going to see if I could just take that jet real quick. I'll be right back. Holy shit, real quick. We're going to keep on moving here just a little bit, but I wanted to take a break to say, Dixie, coming the fuck through. $5 to the Venmo for our government Ponzi startup. Oh, shit. This one just went down in West Virginia. There seems to be a lot of people out here that are easy to maybe get here. So I'm just saying, maybe we start messing around a little bit.
Figure something out.
You know what I'm saying? What do we got here tonight? Holy shit. I think this should be maybe down to 3.
Now there's video evidence.
8, 9. 3 more till a spin. Thank you so much, Dixie. I appreciate that. Here's a little bit of this one.
I'm sober enough to know what I'm doing, and I'm drunk enough to really enjoy doing it.
Hold up! Hold up! Hold up!
Okay.
West
Jennifer, can you tell me who that's a picture of?
Mike.
That's Mike. And Natalie sent you that photograph?
Yes.
Did she provide any context for that? Did she call you or anything? Or is this, you just received this out of the blue?
Just that.
What did this picture mean to you when
That's
you
not
received
true.
it?
I mean, just...
Judge, I'm going to object to this form of question. What do we need to
I think it's fair. I'm going to overrule the objection.
Not a bad question either, Simmy. Full of good questions here tonight, actually. And then going back over here just real quick, Davis said Natalie texted her a picture of Michael on the floor later that day. He would later be hospitalized and moved to hospice care. Davis said she visited Michael every day leading up to his death and recalled Natalie telling her, she said, if you could help me hold a pillow over his face, I don't like seeing him this way. That's not great. It's not. It's definitely not. It's not good.
No.
It's not a great. It's not a good one.
Holy shit.
John Hamilton, a family friend who was also a trooper, testified that Natalie called him over.
Why would it usually just even saying that to a friend?
I know.
Is crazy.
I know. Like, to being honest, you can almost. How close were they? Because I mean, if he's that bad and she truly is feeling that, that's something
my wife
that you
was sick, and I said that sentence to you. That would probably freak you out a little bit. Like that's crazy.
It would, but at the same time, like I feel like that there's some kind of compassion even in that. If like you truly think they're suffering and you want to end that suffering,
yeah, I guess. But
how close is this relationship with the neighbor? Like, here's the thing.
To say something crazy.
Here's the thing. What you just said, I don't think that's as weird as if I said it to my neighbor. You know what I mean? Like if I said it to a person, it's not.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if I would say that at all. Like,
no, that's my point.
I
don't think I would say that to
in
anybody.
the chat. Would you ever say that? Hell yeah, that
insanity.
And that logo that you're probably referencing is from Mandy, the great Mandy. John Hamilton, a family friend who was also a trooper, testified that Natalie called him over. He said he thought Michael should be transported to the hospital, but Natalie insisted that he should just sleep it off, which is also not great. The day got off to a bumpy start when one juror did not show up, telling the judge in an email that she had no reliable transportation, had a son that needed special attention, and she talked to someone about the trial after the judge ordered jurors not to. Judge said, oh yeah, that was the thing I talked about earlier with the juror. So did Michael Cochran know about his wife's Ponzi scheme? What do we got here?
Right.
And we're also in West Virginia.
Right, where the Ponzi scheme murder trial for Natalie Cochran is going on. This is one where it's a wife who has already pleaded guilty to running a Ponzi scheme that defrauded people close to her, her in-laws, her family members and friends out of millions of dollars. But what she's on trial for is the death of her husband, Michael.
Let's go back into the courtroom now. We're listening to testimony from this.
Well, I think Akasha, just because he was dying, I think his brain was fucked from the from his insulin levels being 20. Like, I think he was just done. I think he was literally actively dying, and and I don't think he was conscious either. And I think that's just kind of how it happens, right? Like,
wait, how long was this happening?
I don't know the entire duration or how many days or how long this lasted, but it was long enough for him to get into hospice, and I don't think he woke up. Like,
weird.
So, I mean, and again, you go in with, like, I think there was like a lot of brain damage that had happened at this point after he had went out.
Hospice sounds weird because I would think he would be in the hospital, not in the hospice care. That's what's odd to me.
Yeah, it has to be it has to be a minute,
It'd be
right?
a long time.
And here's the thing, also, they have a lot of money. So you're thinking that the hospital would be, because you think they're trying to rush them out to hospice if they don't have money to stay, right? If you have money to stay and maybe some more help can be done, why would you not? Unless you do get news that this is a dire situation, because hospice is the next level. Like, if you have someone that's dying, that's where you end up going. But like, and it's going to be something like a period of time. But I don't know. Like, it does lead to more questions. That's interesting.
As former fraud investigator, cross-examination of Robert Hinsman.
I'm not telling the jury that. I've said that he knew about the contracts that he was led to believe were bid on by their business.
Okay.
We spoke with many witnesses who would see both the Cochrans on the internet looking.
Mr. Hinsman, I'm sorry. I'm not interested in any other witnesses. I'm interested in this particular witness as a son or a daughter of the Cochrans. You don't know anything about what happened in the household of the Cochrans when Mr. Cochran was working on those contracts, do you?
We never interviewed the children. We never were in the house while they were working on contracts to observe what he did. So the answer would be no.
Now, this fraud resulted in what the prosecution described here as a lavish lifestyle for the Cochrans. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, let's start with the property that the Cochrans all of a sudden acquired. They had 3 homes, right?
Yes.
So, were those homes acquired simultaneously, or were they purchased during, one after another?
Based on my best memory, because I did not bring any asset schedules up with me, they were purchased at different times.
Okay. And they were not the cheapest of properties, were they?
No, they were not.
What did Mr. Cochran do for a living, sir?
Mr. Cochran's profession or occupation was he was an IT or internet technology specialist. He dealt with networking,
not internet.
Do what?
IT is information technology.
Setting up IT and networking. That's what his training and certification was, and that's what the business technology management solution would have also done: install wiring, phone lines, computer lines, network things.
What was his job? Where did he derive his income from?
Doing that from 2013 to 2017. He also worked for Workforce West Virginia, either as a salaried employee or a subcontractor, doing just that, networking and internet support for them.
Well, how much money was he making a year? Do you know?
Which year?
Well, let's say 2013.
I don't think we pulled his wages back to 2013.
All right, 2017.
That I can give you. His last reported wages, his last reported wages were in 2013, the second quarter of 2013.
So you really don't know how much money this man was making from any source to give us an estimate as to how much money the family made.
We looked at the Cochran's personal bank accounts.
Yeah.
For their business bank accounts.
Well.
And we found sources of income. The focus of our investigation was sources of income from these federal contracts and federal government.
And I'm trying to, Natalie Cochran was a pharmacist, right?
Yes.
Her income was about 120 grand a year. Wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
All right. But his income, as we sit here today before the jury, we still cannot identify. Can we? His individual income.
To a certain point, we can. Yes, we can. I can't provide you numbers, but we can. We see what was legitimate income. We see what was not legitimate income.
Was his income, even combined with Natalie Cochran, such that allowed the purchase of 3 real estate properties that would go into thousands of dollars?
Can you,
and more specifically,
can you clarify the 3 properties you're referring to?
Property on 219 North Eisenhower Drive, property at 210 Parkwood Drive, property at 433 4H Lake Drive, all subject to subsequent forfeiture.
Yes, the last one, the home on 4H Lake Road, that home was held by them before the Ponzi scheme began. The other 2 properties were purchased with proceeds from the Ponzi schemes during the period of the Ponzi scheme.
And one day, Ms. Cochran sits at home and her husband walks in and says, honey, we just got the property with thousands of dollars. Or she walks in and says, honey, we just got the property worth thousands of dollars. And he says what to it? Wouldn't it be surprising
The one address
to you,
still shows this tactical solutions group on Google.
Mr. Heinzman, that all that lavish lifestyle was sudden and enormous?
What was it? I'm sorry.
I didn't get to look up all of them, but that first one that he mentioned is still listed as tactical services.
Reasonable person such as Mr. Cochran would ask where the money came from. Wouldn't that be the case?
That's a mischaracterization of our investigation.
Okay.
And I don't know what your question.
Then the answer is no.
Would I be surprised?
Yeah.
Was that the question?
Well, no. Well, would you be surprised if your wife walked in with a new real estate that she just purchased for X thousands of dollars? Wouldn't you want to question where she got that property? Unless you knew what the source of that income was. Would that be right?
I don't know.
Don't know. Well, all of a sudden, Mr. Cochran can afford a 19.
They clearly don't answer truthfully.
1965 Shelby.
He knows that he would be surprised.
A Cobra replica, and
he still won't answer.
Yeah, I know.
Car, thousands of dollars. He drives in front of the house and says, "Honey, I just got me a nice little car." Wouldn't that be a question mark for anybody in the family where that money came from?
I don't know. I know where it came from.
Well,
I don't know what people in the family believed.
Okay. Well, then we have A Yamaha motorcycle, 2017. 2014 B-Tex dump trailer. Another Yamaha motorcycle. Polaris model. That's I take it as another motorcycle. Another big trailer. A Yamaha Timberwolf. Honda Rubicon.
Well, she's already pleaded guilty to the Ponzi scheme. He's trying to prove that the husband knew about the Ponzi scheme because that's the state's entire motive.
The type of lifestyle they were living.
Yeah.
One of those earrings was like $14,000, wasn't it? His gift to Natalie.
What was the purchase date of it?
Like $14,000.
The purchase date?
The earrings, the jewelry.
Purchase date? What year?
I think it was 2018.
19?
2018.
18. And yes, that would be derived from proceeds from the Ponzi scheme as well.
That's right. So he has all that money at his disposal, and he doesn't know where that money comes from, having no identifiable job?
He believed it came from a business called TSG that they ran together getting federal contracts.
Right. And you believe that? That's your opinion?
The evidence points in that direction.
The evidence? All right.
Let's stop at this juncture. I hate to interrupt cross-examination, but we do need a comfort break. We've gone on a little too far. I want to take a brief recess at this time.
A recess there in West Virginia for the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the majority of, the highlights of the first day anyways. We didn't even really get into a lot of what was happening today. It's interesting, man. I don't know, man. I have questions on both sides, so crazy though. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out tomorrow though. But yeah, like I said, Broken Baker's streaming it. Court TV's doing it now. I don't think Lawyer-Lee's doing it live. She's actually there and then covering it in the evenings. But what I just watched with her, man, she was on top of it, and doing a pretty good, analysis of what was kind of going on.
Yeah.
So tomorrow night, everybody, you got to come through for Feral Friday. We're going to be having a David Lynch night. Really just kind of watching Wild at Heart over on kick.com/publicly buzzed. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be good. You going to be hanging out? Danny Savage going to be in the house? I got to get him a ticket. Is he coming through?
I don't know. I ain't heard from him.
Have you heard from him?
I ain't heard from him.
Son of a bitch. He better be coming through. That son of a bitch. He needs to respect the house.
Respect.
He's probably down in Florida in the warm weather.
I bet he is.
Little guest house he's got down there or something. Who knows what he's doing?
I bet he is.
He might be cooking up a Ponzi scheme.
He might be, dude. I bet he is a part of some Ponzi schemes, that son of a bitch.
Who knows?
All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for hanging out here tonight. I really appreciate it. We went a little bit longer than a normal Thursday. But yeah, I'm going to be keeping up with this. Keep an eye on what else happens. Yeah, it's interesting. See what goes down. How many days it's going to last, though. It seems like it's still, and they're going fairly slow, and they've had 2 early days in a row, so I don't know. And it feels like it's still early, so it might
probably got court tomorrow.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're off Monday.
I feel like it'll go into next week a little bit. So
Monday's Martin Luther King Day.
That's true. So they might not go into Monday. It might go into Tuesday. Oh shit! Akasha coming in hot. Damn.
Whoa!
Talking about Dandy Savage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dandy. That's right. Yeah.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's unpredictable. You never know.
He pussed out. Shit.
You never know what Danny's doing.
Damn.
He's unpredictable.
Yeah, that is Martin Lawrence's voice. Not that one. This one.
Not that one.
This place is dead anyway, man.
I love Martin.
Hold up. Hold up.
Dandy Savage, borrow your plane. Right? Does he have a neighbor that has a fucking plane?
He might.
It's all coming back around, baby.
We always have to buy him first class tickets, which is expensive. That's why it's very expensive. Frankly, that's maybe why Stevie hasn't been splurging on him. He hasn't been putting out the dough.
Very
Is that what it is? Is that why he hasn't been here?
No, hey, no,
you ain't
that
been
is
buying the
not. No,
tickets?
Tickets have been out there.
Oh, you've been buying the tickets and he still hasn't showed up.
That's right. And I have to try to get refunded. So it's non-refundable. I'm out thousands of dollars because of this, man. Hey, when I have the shirt on that's completely black, look, I'm just a head floating.
Just about, yeah.
You can't
see your chair, I guess, in the background.
You can't even see that.
I mean, yeah. But I don't see your shoulders.
It's hard. All right, everyone. Thank y'all so much. Tomorrow night, come through. It's going to be a fun one. I promise. And this movie is crazy. It's my favorite David Lynch film. It's a wild one, dude. It's a fucking, like I said, a shotgun blast, snorted cocaine, injection of heroin. What do they call it when it's the heroin and the coke? An 8-ball, speedball.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fucking speedball right to the face. Boom. Get the hell in here. Have a great night. Have a great Friday. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Come through. Boom.
This verse